Hi there, welcome to the Zestpal Show. I'm your host Gabriella, and together with my guests, we explore how to navigate life, what really matters, and how we can all build a life that we actually enjoy. Come and join us. In this episode, I'm talking to Alexandra Dolea, professional career mentor, freelance archaeologist, and creator of the Career Excavation Framework. We talk about Alexandra's journey from academia to mentoring, why it's okay to change your mind, and of course, the deeper questions in life. Enjoy. It's a pleasure to have you on the show, Alexandra. Thanks for joining us. Tell me a little bit more about yourself. What is it that you do, and how did it all start?
Thank you for inviting me. And I'm really, really excited and a bit, surprised that I'm joining your project in the sense of pleasantly surprised because I thought I have to wait for another 30 years to qualify
No.
to to share my wiseness and but I guess I have, deep down an elderly soul and this would be, I hope, a nice occasion to share some stories and some impressions about life. So, a bit about myself. What I have been working for the past almost 20 years, it has been archaeology. So I have been doing archaeology, in the way you would imagine. So exactly, excavations, going and being patient and, discovering history with your own hands and thousands of years old artifacts and trying to bring back some parts of the puzzles that we are probably most of us or all of us curious about. So this has been my dream job and something that fulfilled me for a long time and something that replaced some things I was missing.
Mm.
During the pandemic, at the point, things didn't work out because, everybody loves some culture, but investing in culture and endorsing and supporting culture is not exactly what's working in a general global pandemic. So um, the the arts and the humanities and everything. These are the topics where the things are cut from the first time, namely the funds, and this is what it also affected me. I was collateral damage. I never
Mm.
had a permanent position in academia. So I worked from contract to contract, either as a freelancer in denial, as I said, because I still, I had the impression I'm gonna be a big deal or I was a big deal in academia. Then I was also employed in some academic institutions internationally, mostly in Europe, but I've been working also around the Mediterranean and towards, Turkey for the past 15 years. So this pandemic changed a lot,
Mm.
including my professional choices when in my mid 30s I was unemployed for quite a while, for over 2 years. And I had to make some life decisions, and I basically questioned all my life choices from all points of view.
Yeah.
So now I am a freelance archaeologist, but I am also a career mentor, and I'm also founder of Passport Hub, the first aimed, attempted global community for archaeologists. So I switched, long story short, I switched from discovering the past with my own hands to supporting the community or trying to support the community that does this, because I believe that if your well-being and your mental and physical state are not in a good place, your profession and all your life are going to be affected, and namely the job that is going to be performed. And this is research, this is science, this is a big responsibility. It might look Indiana Jonesy from outside, but behind the scenes, there is a lot of work. There are a lot of sacrifices done. I don't
Mm.
want to sound dramatic, but there is really such an amount of work in extreme conditions, and most of the times. And it's a bit romanticized and idealized. And yes, I would like to draw attention about a lot of topics and about a lot of toxicity and unfairness that is brought in this yeah, career path or job that is wonderful, but it doesn't have to destroy us.
Mm.
So that's my background.
Coming from archaeology, how did you move to career mentorship and coaching? It's not quite related.
Yes, it came from my need. It came
Mm.
from finding myself in a crisis situation, finding myself in a degrading health situation, and also my mental health was not at the most optimal level. Basically, I was in a burnout for a while, but I also refused that because, when you're in denial, you're in denial. Um, so basically, also transitioning after, you know, working over 15 years to build an international career and sacrificing everything else around it.
Mm.
Um, I found myself in a position of not knowing and not understanding what my options are, and actually not knowing that I have any option. So in the beginning, I thought that, yeah, that's not how it's happening. I have been unemployed for years, and I was still desperately applying all around the world for jobs and fellowships and postdocs and so on. Mind you, none of them a permanent position. So still,
Mm.
moving from a country to another for a couple of years, which might function for a while, but for me at the point, the question was, okay, until when can I do this? Like,
Yeah.
is this gonna be for the next 20 years? What's gonna happen? How am I going to be? Any person who is an international and who moved countries knows that in general it can be fun and it can be nice and it's exciting, but for most of us it's not a piece of cake,
Mm.
and it comes with a lot of challenges and with a lot of stress attached.
Mm,
And
for
when you
sure.
don't have the financial security also, it puts some tolls, and there is somehow a panic, too much panic and not so much disco, so to say, in the whole situation. So
Mm.
based on this, at the point, and I have been doing mentoring with my students and my assistants and my colleagues, not calling it mentoring, like officially, or not recognizing it as mentoring, um, by giving support and trying to be more of something that I didn't have. So
Mhm.
giving support and being as much as possible transparent and open and communicating, because I think this is what is making things working. Um, I thought that mentoring is somehow a thing on sharing experiences and not being so isolated and not building scenarios in our heads that we are the only ones who are having troubles, or the only ones who are not succeeding, or the only ones going through depression or burnout or unemployment or all of the above, because one does not exclude the other, unfortunately. And when I started doing official mentoring in different programs, including, I started with archaeologists because, that's my origin, my source. And I saw next generations, students that were 10, 15 years younger than me, having
Mm.
exactly one-to-one the same troubles and going through the same abuse and precarity and uncertainty, and really, really working and being amazing and international and going through the same problems. I thought, okay, this is something that it's unfortunately not surprising, but it should get better, and maybe we should start do something about it. I'm not the first one, mind you. It's not that I'm not there are other people who thought about it and started to do, career coaching and also writing about this and addressing it. Still, somehow, I think it's not enough, and I think we can bring more in front, the injustices and the abuses that are happening in the field, And also the fact that every time my mentees were grateful for not being feeling alone in this and
Mm.
feeling safe and understood. And it just takes being there, being honest and being open, and it changes everything. It's like I don't know, like magic somehow. And it's beautiful, but it's also sad at the same time because this should be the normality and the common sense. We should feel safe to open up, and we should not feel isolated, and we should not feel ashamed with our work or our feelings or what we are going through. We should find support with our peers and our colleagues because I believe there is enough place for all of us under the sun, hopefully.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I think the world would be a bit calmer and a bit better if we would take a step back, take a deep breath, and saying, why am I doing this to other people or to myself? Let's just, try at least if I can't do anything good, let's not do something bad or
Yeah.
something, harmful for myself or for the others.
Yeah.
So this is how I went because I felt I didn't have support. I felt lost. I felt I had a deep sense of injustice
Mm.
towards me, and nobody explained me that it doesn't matter, or nobody prepared me actually for the fact that it doesn't matter if you become very good and you sacrifice everything and you build a CV and a career track that it's at a I would say decent, at least international level, that all of this don't matter. You need to have uh, a chance, you need to know some people, you need to
Mm.
have a form of privilege and a form of support, and sometimes you don't have it.
Mm.
And you need to be prepared that things are not working out even if you work decades for it, because or prepared in the sense of at least not blaming yourself that you're a failure
Yeah.
in this sense. So this is, what I'm trying to build and to create, the normality of, in very, very few people get a permanent position in archaeology in academia. At least in Europe, Central Western Europe, probably like 1% or something like this. It's ridiculous. This
Mm.
should be the first thing when you try to apply for the faculty, like, are you sure you want to to join here? Because uh, it's not a promise that it's gonna give you stability and stuff. So yeah,
But I don't think it's just academia, to be
yeah.
honest. I think now in the 21st century, in any kind of job, you don't know what's going to happen next year, even, or in 5 or 10 years' time. The landscape has totally changed.
It's true.
Yeah. So, as a career mentor, what advice would you give to somebody who is at the beginning of their career, just starting out? Is there anything that you would, any message you would give them?
Well, any message I would give them at the beginning of their career, and in principle, I would tell them to follow their guts
Mm.
and to listen to their guts, and to, if they want to study something or go into a direction, in my opinion, there is no right and wrong. There is always a lesson to learn from anything you're studying.
Mm.
So there is not a failure. I know so many people who were forced by their parents to study, I don't know, something fancy, medicine, engineering, anything, whatever, because it was a family tradition or because it would have been a guarantee for, stable income or fame or so on. And then they were miserable with it, and then they ended up being writers or painters or you name it, something
Mm.
that they
Yeah.
really wanted to do.
Yeah.
So somehow I've had the feeling that what you're studying does not necessarily define what you're going to do for the rest of your life. I really strongly believe, and I see that a lot of people are changing careers because we are
Mhm.
changing. So what
Yeah.
you're deciding when you start studying, let's say you're 18, 19, 20 years old, this doesn't have to be for the rest of your life, and it doesn't mean it won't help you if at 35 or 40 you decide that, I don't feel like this anymore.
Mhm.
So it's okay to change your mind because we are changing as humans on the way. The
Yeah.
thing is to be open and to try to do a bit of introspection or self-reflection and asking yourself, what do I really enjoy to do? Because this changes a bit,
Mm.
I don't want to go in the, mainstream like, oh, do what you love and you won't work a day in your life. Yeah, that's a bit,
Uh, yeah, it's still
that's a
work.
yeah, it's work is work, Like if I could, I would retire in glory at 40 years old, honestly. Like that's not, but the thing is, um your guts and your subconscious and your inner self will tell you, you will feel that it's something that you would want something else.
Yeah.
And I hope that the next generation is more free and that they are not, so much pushed by the society based on gender, based on location and everything. If you're a boy and you want to do ballet or dancing or whatever and like that, go and do it. Like
Mm.
if you can do it and if it's okay and this is what you want to do, just do it. Like don't listen to the society. If you're a girl and you want to become a, I don't know, kung fu master, go and do it, nail it. I mean, we need, we need
Yeah.
all of these things. So, first of all, not everybody needs to have, like titles and studies. For me, these are redundant and these are, social constructs to divide us even more based on privilege and access to
Mm.
knowledge, which is unfair. So I think do whatever makes you happy at that moment and you will figure it out on the way because in my opinion, it's impossible at 18 years old to have the clarity
Yeah.
of an adult who the clarity of an adult. Most of us adults don't have a clarity. What am I
Yeah, I was
talking
gonna
about?
say that.
I'm like, what? I barely have a bit now,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I worked a lot on myself. So that's the thing. Like nobody guarantees you anything. And even if they guarantee, I mean, we have wars, we have pandemics, we have, economic crisis. We are in recession after a pandemic, and we still haven't processed properly what happened, since 2020. What are we talking about?
Mm.
Life is short. Try to make it, not only bearable, not only being in survival mode. Let's
Yeah.
make something that we at least we go back in time and say, well, it that was fun,
Yeah. Yeah. And how about those people who might be more middle-aged, perhaps at a career crossroads, perhaps just being made redundant, or they just feel like I'm on a path that no longer fits and this is no longer what I want to do. What would be the first step for these people? What would you recommend?
That's a very good question because this is something that I had to face myself, and
Hmm.
this became like one of my like transforming my pains into gains. So
Hmm.
something that I struggled with, now I'm, using it to empower people and to support people exactly in this, so-called middle-age crisis.
Hmm.
This will become a normality, in my opinion, in the next few years.
Yeah.
And I really, really hope that the employers and the society in general, the professional side, that they will open more to this, like people changing career, in their mid-career.
Yeah.
And because this is a result also of the unpredictability of, the global situation from economy to health to social care to everything. Um, the advice to the people doing this is that it's possible and that you don't start from zero. So it's not like starting again, from entering school for the first time. And on that note, there are a lot of people, especially women, who go again through schools and get certifications and get the third master or the second PhD because they feel the need that they are
Mhm.
never enough,
Mhm.
good enough, or they need another certification and everything. Really think if you need that certification or you're just trying to like justify even more in
Mhm.
front of the society or running from some decisions or from some, you know, taking some actions. Because that's okay if you do, but it's better if you are aware, actively aware of it. Everybody who is transitioning careers comes with a set of knowledge, and it's very, very important that you realize this, that you're transferring skills, and that you sit down with yourself and put in writing, not only thinking about it, but in writing or speaking with a friend or somebody with whom, who is
Mhm.
actively listening and can give you some feedback about what you were doing and just translate it into, for example, if you move from academia to, I don't know, corporate, people, if they would see archaeology, just archaeological terminology, in your CV, they first of all probably would freak out or find it exciting, but they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
But if you tell them that you were coordinating teams of 20 people, communicating in three different languages, managing contracts, administration, budgets, attracting funds, and all these things, people will understand that it's not
Yeah.
only Indiana Jones, which is not, again, archaeology is not Indiana Jones, but, the image. So it's not just, having fun in the sun.
Mhm.
It's never fun, I'm telling you. I mean, it's fun, but it's also, it can be 50 degrees in the sun. So that can be not
Mhm.
so much fun. But, you need to also manage yourself, manage people, manage budgets, manage the heat, manage the dust, tools and everything, and do also research and science and understand what's happening there. So this means only from this you realize how many other assets or qualities or
Mhm.
skills you're having.
Yeah.
So this is something that I needed to translate it into a language that people understand that I can do team management, team leadership, intercultural teams and speaking different languages and attracting funds and administration and doing contracts and visas and, um, you name it, project
Mhm.
management and so on and so forth. And this is something that people can understand. It's the
Yeah.
regular professional language. So
Yeah.
I think everybody can do this, can sit with themselves and say, okay, first of all, to narrow down what I want to transition to, which might be the most challenging part,
Mhm.
getting the clarity of where you're going through, and then, just checking out what you're bringing with yourself because you're not
Yeah.
a blank piece of paper. You
Yeah.
come with your experience, your expertise, with your personality, which is
Mhm.
also playing an exceptional role. And no matter if you're an extrovert, an introvert, if you speak one language or five languages, if you are in your home country or in different country, there are pluses and minuses. And try not to self-sabotage yourself and try to bring the pluses in the, foreground
Mhm.
and try to, pitch them and make them, show them who you truly are because everybody has their role in this whole mechanism.
Mhm. Oh, I love that. I love that personality and skills that maybe you wouldn't even think of as professional skills, but they still count in the workplace, like time
Absolutely.
management, for example. Or,
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. What
yeah,
people are calling soft skills, and I'm like, that's not soft.
no,
Like
yeah,
it requires a lot of strength, for
yeah,
example, to be organized or to be in time or to be just a person that people are, like enjoying having around, or
yeah,
people are, respecting and saying, you know what, that person has a nice, work ethics and I'm not afraid to go and ask something because they're going to be there, and having the patience to explain a newcomer even second, third time, and not being annoyed or something like this. That these are assets, to be patient and to be nice with people around you. It's
Yeah.
very easy to ruin somebody's day. Just go on the street. You feel good, you feel beautiful, and then there is one person who just wants to, share their misery. And in the second, your day is ruined.
Mm.
So this can happen also at work, feeling
Yeah.
tension, feeling everything and stuff. If you're the person who is, bringing good vibes and everything, not forcibly, don't force yourself to be liked. Just try not to be, try not to harm other people. And this is like common sense in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. The soft skills, the so-called soft skills, they're the ones who are making a big, big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Let's move into the more general questions
Please.
about life. What are the things that truly matter in life, in your opinion?
Well, this also changed in the past decades, so to say.
Okay.
At least for me, right? Um, for almost 20 years, my career in archaeology was above everything because it was the place where I could, go. So for me, it was building a career and, identifying myself with the job,
Mm.
which I know it sounds, in some years, people would, whomever might hear, they would be like, ah, that's ridiculous, like that's destroying you and stuff. It was what worked for me and it helped me for a while, quite a while, so to say. It helped me being myself and understanding myself. And this is why I dedicated everything because it was the only thing that made me feel good with what I truly am and who I truly am.
Mm.
And then it was not the same anymore. And then, I went to dig deeper in myself, not in the field, but in myself, and to understand which are my desires and my pains also, because they come with a package. For me now, the things that truly matter in life, um, for me, the most important thing now is that I myself, I am not in survival mode and that I have a decent life and that I take care of myself. I put
Mm.
myself on the first place.
Yeah.
And in in some cultures or some backgrounds, this might sound as selfish. For me, it sounds like this: if you're not taking care of yourself, and if you're not respecting yourself, and if you won't love yourself, how would anybody else do this? And why should anybody else do this in your place? This is
Mm.
not a selfish, this is not a choice. This should be, something that comes with the package. We have one body, one mind, one soul. We have to deal with this for decades or for as long as we have, days on this planet. So we might as well, take care of ourselves and of our, body, mind, and soul because yeah, we have to deal this all the way and it's going to influence everything. It's
Yeah.
going to influence your private life, your social life, your professional life. And yeah, this is what truly matters in life.
Mm.
The fact that I am on the first place for myself so I can be in the best shape to give also back to the others.
Yeah.
When I am in my best shape, and I am in my, or I am aware that I'm not in my best shape, this is also like awareness. That's okay. We don't have to be at, the top of our lives.
Mm.
There is not a linear, thing. We have ups and downs, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But when you have the down, take a step back. I don't know, take a deep breath and see what you need to, recharge. We
Yeah.
need to recharge.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that self-respect and self-love. There isn't much that we can do without these. So yeah, it starts with that. What are the most important lessons you have learned in life? I'm sure there's quite a few.
I was thinking actually, did I learn anything on the way? Lessons. I think I mentioned already in our talk. So being flexible and tolerant and accepting ourselves that we will change, that things are changing, that our, I don't know, from food taste to life choices, they can change and it's perfectly fine. So, for
Mm,
example, that's one of the things that I would be like, that's an important lesson I've learned, that it's okay to change my mind and it's okay to make different choices and it's okay to just, yeah, go in a different direction at the point because it's trial and error most of the time.
mhm.
And people, they should teach this in school. Probably
Yeah.
somewhere they are teaching it. Not in my school, but or in the schools that I, attended. But this should be something like, this kind of freedom in the sense of, you thought you wanted in this direction. You tried and it didn't make you happy, or it didn't work, or it worked for a while and it's not the same anymore, and it's not the same priority or the same satisfaction. Go for something else. It's
Mhm.
terrifying. Like,
Yeah.
also, our brain is telling us, oh, it's not so good here, but at least it's familiar. You're
Mhm.
acquainted to it, you're accustomed to it. Why do you want to change? Maybe it's not going to work out. So, we have our inner saboteurs and our inner judges and everything. And it's important not to confuse this with our inner voice, true inner voice. So if you want to make a change and you have the possibility to do it, go for it because it's trial and error or our life. I think it's a, succession of trials and errors and trying to make the best out of it. Um, so that's one lesson. The other lesson is what I said earlier of it took me almost 40 years to learn to take care of myself and being severely ill and getting very close to death. So that was one lesson that it's ridiculously simple and easy not to be anymore.
Mhm.
Um, Another lesson that I've learned is, and it took me almost 40 years to learn, is taking care of yourself, of your physical health and mental health. For me, the first toll was taking at the physical health. And I was mentioning earlier that it's ridiculously simple to not be anymore. Like, you don't think about it. You read in books, you see movies, you see everything, and it's like, yeah, that's not gonna happen to me. Exactly like with an illness. Oh, oh, girl, that can happen to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you don't take care, like this will happen to you pretty soon. And for me, the first time I think I got severely ill, it was when I was 28 or 29 years old and I almost died. And I was convinced that I'm not going to wake up.
Mm.
Um, so it's this was the moment when I decided to move to another place and I packed my life in a suitcase and I said, okay, I'm going to try somewhere else.
Yeah.
Um, and then it passed another, couple of years, almost a decade, and I went through a similar thing again. And yes, I learned that I need to listen to my brain and to my feelings and to my self when something you love, like, a job or I don't know, a person or a place, it's not the thing that, brings you joy, but the opposite. It's time for a change, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
And you need to be on the first place because it's not gonna work otherwise.
Yeah.
If you're a parent, if you're not in at the best shape, and if you don't, take care of yourself, rest, I don't know, do whatever you feel like, take a break from time to time. you won't be there in your, I don't know, as much as possible, best shape for your kids to
Yeah.
support them also, right?
Yeah, yeah. And not just as a parent for the kids, but if you're a partner, wife or husband,
Exactly.
or, everybody has a family, everybody has friends, or we have colleagues. We
Yes.
all have people in our life, and we owe it to them as well. We owe it to ourselves, and we also owe it to the other people, I think.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just emphasizing this because in a lot of, societies or yeah, it's the belief that, yeah, it's selfish to think of yourself before, I
Mm,
don't know, your kids, your parents, your whomever, that you owe things. And for me, I think the only thing you owe is to yourself.
mhm.
Because, as I said, it's very simple not to be anymore. And in principle, you're the main carer. With some exceptions, you're the main carer of your body, your mind, and your soul.
Yeah,
And this is a duty that I think everybody should have, uh, to take care as much as possible of themselves.
yeah.
And that's, I think, something that we should switch our brains from, this social impression that no, this is selfish. This is not
Mhm.
selfish.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you. What advice would you give to the younger generations? We
What do
kind
you
of
mean?
touched
I'm
on
still
this.
young.
You're very young,
I'm
of
still
course.
very young. Yeah, no. Advice. Who am I to give advice? That's my, inner saboteur saying, who are you to give any advice to anybody? To the younger generations, well, I think they can give us also some advice because as far as I could see, being a millennial on TikTok and on all the social media, I'm learning a lot from
Mhm.
the new generation also. But an advice would be, if they would ask, but I would give it even if they don't, um, would be to follow their guts, as I said earlier. It's very, very important to listen to themselves. But I
Mm.
feel that Gen Z and the following generations, but especially what I've seen and talked to Gen Zs in general, they are much more aware than I was or our
Yeah,
generation was. They
for
they
sure.
they take it to the next level and much earlier, and it fills my soul with joy, but
Mhm.
it also makes me wonder, like, how would my life have been if I would have had this awareness
Oh
in
my God,
my
yes.
teenage
Yeah,
years?
yeah,
Exactly, right?
yeah,
It's like, of course, it's what ifs, and this is a slippery slope, but still it's like, oh wow, this is
yeah.
crazy to be aware during high school of, traumas and everything. And they are really, really present in their lives and they are very much aware. And I was like, my life was 90% survival mode and I don't remember
Yeah.
70% of my life. And I had to do therapy mid 30s to understand this. So
Mhm.
crazy, right? And then, yeah, I don't know if they would need advice,
Mhm.
but I think in principle they are doing well. I think a lot of things are going to be shaken, but I think that listening to themselves and going on the path, I think Gen Z is going to shake quite some things from all points of view, socially, politically, religiously, and professionally, of course. I think some things will be totally changed.
Mm.
And I think all of us, not only the millennials, but also the generations before, each of us have a contribution on this to bring this Gen Z into a point that they can afford to do this and that they have the power to do this.
Yeah.
So I would tell them to also have the curiosity to look a bit in the back and see what they can take for themselves from it, because it's not everything useless as it might seem. I remember how I was thinking in my, teenage years, that I was the brightest, smartest, the middle of the earth. So But if you don't think at this point that you're the middle of the earth, when are you gonna think,
Hmm.
So that's also fine. But I think they can become stronger by having some, taking some power moves from or power information from the generations in the past and apply. That's
Okay.
the thing I would tell them.
Yeah, that's great. It reminded me of I had a teacher in high school who used to say that if you don't think you can change the world as a teenager or young adult, there is something wrong with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I think this up and coming generation is pretty awesome. And I agree with you. I think they're gonna do amazing things. Yeah. Okay. What habit or daily routine has been the most helpful to you? Is there any such thing?
So now that I'm getting older, I have some habits and daily routines, but I think one of the best thing that helped me on all the levels, like physically and mentally, was introducing regular movement of any kind and transforming it into something I'm enjoying and not a struggle. So I come from a background of not having too much excitement related to sports or activities and actually skipping sports in school and so on because somehow I don't know, I didn't associate it with anything that would be useful to me. That's a very big education fail, honestly,
Hmm.
and social and systemic fail. But then in the pandemic in 2021, I decided that, okay, uh, I'm gonna rot on my chair, at the office looking at the laptop. So I decided to start, doing whatever. And I joined also some groups for hiking, but not hiking in the mountains or climbing, rocks and everything. Urban hikes and
Hmm.
just going as much as you can. If you want to walk for 10 minutes, that's fine. If you want to walk for 3 hours or 5 hours, that's also fine. Listen to your body. When it hurts and it's, already uncomfortable, it's time to go home and take a bath
Hmm.
and go to sleep. But this helped me so much and it opened so many doors to me
Hmm.
on understanding that I'm capable of whatever I want to do. Because I was genuinely convinced that I'm not capable. I'm not capable of weightlifting. I'm not capable of running. I'm not capable of hiking. I'm not capable of, and these were my self limitations.
Hmm.
And now I'm organizing hikes and, I'm training also, doing martial arts and, a lot of other things and almost on a daily basis,
Amazing.
doing something.
Yeah.
And I'm not punishing myself if I don't have time or I'm not in the mood, but I'm definitely celebrating myself every time. And especially in those days when I would do anything not to get out of bed or of the house, that, I'm like, I would rather die than going out because it's, raining and it's cold and it's like, ew, everything is gray and wet. And in the moment that I go, and I do something because it's for myself, even if it's 5 minutes, even if it's, it doesn't matter. I'm like, wow, that's so cool that I got myself together to do this. I'm
Yeah.
proud of myself. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a habit of transforming something that seemed to be a pain or something that I was not mastering it and stuff. You don't have to master walking, or whatever, going to a gym and doing something. And by the way, if you're a woman, you don't have to do only pilates and yoga and everything. If you want to do weightlifting, go and do weightlifting. That's amazing,
Yeah.
that's empowering,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a great feeling.
Yeah.
So that's a very, very good habit. So it became a habit in the past 4 years. And if for a reason or another I can't do it, I feel something is missing in my life. And this is when I
Hmm.
know that I built something that it's really, I really enjoy having it in
Yeah.
my life.
Yeah.
And another habit, it's taking breaks and not doing anything. We need to
Okay.
rewire ourselves as humans not to be productive
Hmm.
or not to do, just to have the silence of not going anywhere with our thoughts, with our, body, with, you know, and to try to disconnect and say, yeah, it's okay not to be productive. It's okay not to work. I need to, just stay for 5 minutes and, you know,
Mm. Yeah,
pl-
I love that.
plug, plug out,
Yeah.
or something like this. So this is something that for me, it was when I heard it for the first time, I was like, this is ridiculous, like who does that? That's
Like
weird.
the Italians have a whole phrase for this, the dolce fa niente, literally means the sweetness of doing nothing.
And
Yeah.
the whole world is judging them on this. But that's the thing. But also, in a world that is overstimulating, from our mobile phone to everything that is surrounding us, for me, it's difficult to switch my brain off. This
Mm.
is also one of the things that it's exciting for me to do sports.
Yeah.
And because, first of all, if I go on hikes, I communicate with people and I talk to people, and I'm like, I'm not just going there and, throwing my soul out in the, hiking routes, but also meeting people. Some of them, I don't know if I will ever meet again,
Hmm.
but that's nice. And then shutting my brain down from all the worries and everything. Like I go and I focus on, basically if I'm weightlifting, to weight the lifts and not, break my, I don't know, knees or my feet
Yeah.
or dropping the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's also something that I do for myself, that I'm taking my time from it. And it's not something that, I'm not preparing for the Olympics or for whatever competition. It's just going because and if you're having fun with it, even the better.
Mm.
But we are always told we have to do something.
Mm.
And sometimes it's like, I don't know, when was the last time, Gabriela, that you didn't do anything?
Mm. Oh, very good question.
See? We are really wired to be productive,
Yeah.
to be useful. And also, another trick our brain is playing, we do a lot of small tasks, and at the end of the day, we have the feeling that we didn't do anything. And one thing that I like to do from time to time is to replay my day from the beginning,
Mm.
from the moment I open my eyes, I wake up, and but to be not to be seeing it through my eyes, to see it somehow like a witness from outside, and try not to feel my emotions through the day, but just to be an observant.
Mm.
And then you're like, oh, actually, 90% of the things I did it mechanically and I didn't register them actively. And
Yeah.
then you realize you also wash some dishes, you also gather some clothes, you packed some socks, you cooked something, cleaned also half of the house and everything. And then you're like, why am I so tired? I didn't do anything the whole day. Then it's like,
Mm.
well, how am I still alive? Because I work every day like this and I don't even realize how much I'm doing,
Mm.
the invisible work.
Yeah.
So we need a bit of, um, care and understanding for ourselves that we are basically overstimulated, overworked, underpaid, most of
Mm.
us.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, like self-care and well-being in the sense of listening to yourself. And if you need on a daily basis to take a break, and I don't know if you have the possibility, or just, I don't know, lay down for 5 to 10 minutes or go in a park and listen to some birds and stay in the sun,
Mm.
just do it, because that's your time and that's your life.
Yeah. That's great advice. Thank you. Okay. What is the best way to overcome difficulties or hardship? Anything that works for you well.
Uh, First of all, acknowledging that they exist and that they are.
Hmm.
because this is also we tend to run away from, or accepting them and saying that that's a hard time or that's a difficulty or that's something that I have to confront. A lot of people are not confrontational or avoiding conflicts, right? And that could apply to inner conflict as well. Um, I think acceptance of the things that make our life difficult, it's a first step. It's acknowledging that they exist and that they are there and that they are part of our life. The acceptance of the fact that also life is not just rainbows and butterflies, but actually it can be quite challenging,
Mm.
but that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
There is no best way to overcome difficulties, in my opinion, because it depends on everybody's experience, personality, mindset, I don't know, inner saboteurs, inner judge, and everything. Um, but I can tell you that in the moment when you are present in your life and you're actively acknowledging and accepting this, things become a bit more easier because then you're not punishing yourself for some things that were bound to happen anyhow.
Mm.
Because then if you're punishing yourself, you just make your life even more difficult and it's a devilish circle,
Yeah.
and a never-ending story. So, another thing that what might make your life easier is to ask for support. We are very much used to dealing with the things only by ourselves and
Mm.
being ashamed to admit that some things are a bit over our paycheck or our
Yeah.
possibilities or mindsets or the moment where we are. So asking for support, which includes from, going to your best friend and say, I don't want advice or I don't want solutions, I just want to vent. That's
Mm.
also support. We
Yeah.
need to take it out of the system.
Yeah.
Or going to therapy or taking a career coach or going to, I don't know, to ask for support in your company or anything, saying that, yeah, or to a colleague or whatever it is, right? Or in
Mm.
your family and in your circle of friends or anything. Or finding a program where you would be, understood or listened to or so on.
Yeah.
Um, all of us need support. We shouldn't be bound to solve everything in our lives alone. And we shouldn't be alone in this journey unless you choose to. And it's a very, responsible choice. But other than that, I think we should support each other, and I think this should be a common sense thing to ask for support and receive it, and not being, looked or frowned upon like, oh, or equalized with, oh, you're stupid because you don't know how to do this.
Mm.
Nobody was born knowing, you
Yeah.
know, those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the thing, acknowledging these things are existing, acceptance, and asking for support, externalize it somehow towards, you don't have to be alone in this. It's
Yeah.
it's fine to have, some comrades with you to go to the battle together.
Mm. Yeah. No, I totally agree. I think we humans, we are social. We are not supposed to be an island. We are not Superman and Superwoman. We are supposed to ask for help, and it's totally fine. Yeah, I love that. Okay. Looking back on your life, is there anything you regret or anything you would do differently?
That's a very, very interesting. And, like I have small regrets, but they are like, I don't know, I wish I would have spent more time with my grandmothers because, I don't have them. But at the same time, I also spend time with them and I also acknowledge them and, I love them a lot deeply and I'm grateful to the roles they played in my life, from being educators and I don't know, my mom's mom. She taught me how to read and write and so on since I was 5 years old. So amazing. Um, and, strong, women with a crazy past, going through wars and through famine and everything, like totally different from what we're having right now. But, let's not, life is not a competition who had
Mm.
it worse. but the background was significantly different. And I regret I don't have time with them, or that I didn't spend my time best with them or better with them. But at the same time, I did what I knew best at that time and what I could do the most, and I accept this, and that's that. So um, I don't have any big regrets, to be fair.
That's great.
Something that I would go, if I could turn back time, I would go and change it, and But as I said, I was most of my life in survival mode, and I don't remember most of the things. So maybe there is something there I just don't remember, which
No, but
that's
that's okay.
okay. But not something that, definitely crucially, important. Say that my life would be different if I would proceed something like this. No, I embrace it as it is, with good and bad, and a lot of bads, and that's part of it. And it
Yeah.
is what it is. I am the result of all of these things put
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, that's great. What should we focus on if we want a happy life? What makes a happy life?
Ah, I don't believe in, the idea of happiness as, balanced life and finding your equilibrium and balance and everything. I think happy is a very, I don't know, um, broadly used term, and at the same time, it's such a specific term for everybody. I think this became like a unicorn in our lives, that we are actively chasing for something that seems to never be, acquainted. And at the same time, in our chase to making our lives happy, or happier, or being happy in our lives, we are making ourselves miserable. So, on this very optimistic note, I think that um, a happy life is, case based on one to one. I think the first thing is to sit down with yourself, make a reflection or a thought, and say, what do I really want? And that's a very blocking question, because in our life, we are told what we should love and what we should do and what we should choose, from private life to careers to social to whatever preferences, right? Um, And this is tricky to find out what you really and deeply would like to do, or what is something that I don't know, the society told you that you should
Yeah.
function like this because that's what, I don't know, a good girl
Yeah, yeah,
or a
yeah.
brave boy would do it, and so on. I'm not going to enter into, sexual and gender preferences and stuff, because that's a whole crazy other
It's our new
story.
conversation, yeah.
It's a whole new podcast or something. But that's the thing. Like, some people will be happy with something that another person would consider absolutely crazy or absolutely nuts, absolutely disgusting,
Mm,
you know? And there is another thing. It's like jewelry or clothes. I can see you dressed in it and think you look amazing, but I wouldn't see myself in it, right? So that's also with happiness. What makes somebody happy and how they are presenting it, it doesn't mean it would work for you.
yeah, yeah.
So I'm going again to the thing of trial and error, and that what makes you happy when you're 15 or 20 years old, maybe it won't make you happy at 35 or 40 or 50 or 60. Or maybe at 60 you go back to the mindset that you had at 15 or 18, and that's
Yeah,
perfectly fine,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
And I wouldn't say that, yes, if we should focus on something or somebody, we should focus on ourselves. I think we are the centerpiece because we want to be happy. And if we want to have some partners on the way to share the joy and the happiness, that's perfectly fine.
Mm,
If we want to do it and that's a solo journey, that's perfectly fine.
mm,
And if happiness is too abstract and you just want to have fun and enjoy and, go with the flow, that's also fine. Somehow, I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to at least pretend we are happy. And just don't pretend, you don't have to put a smile every time on your face and just answer like, no, everything is fine, thank you. You can also say like, I had better times, but you probably don't want to hear it because most people don't want to hear it when they're asking us how we are doing. If you're not happy, but you're content, that's also fine. I don't think as humans we feel I don't think most of the humans actively realize when they are happy. I
Yeah.
think it's more of a past feeling when you remember the good old times, when you remember like, oh my God, that was so nice. I had such a nice period and stuff. So
Yeah.
why chasing something that probably you won't be actively, caught in it, or it's something that is so temporarily that then you spend time regretting that you are not more aware or you were not able to elongate, then, putting it a bit lower and saying, my happiness is every Friday at 4 o'clock to, I don't know, open a book and go and sit in the park, in the sun. I have birds around me and I, read to something that I love to read and that's me time and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
For me, this is how it works. I see a beautiful sunset. I'm so happy. I
Yeah.
see
Me too.
yesterday I went for a long walk in a forest around and it was so foggy and creepy. It made me so happy. I love creepy things. I love foggy stuff. I couldn't see, I don't know, 20 meters from myself. And but I was so happy. It looked so creepy and I was like, that's so cool. I'm gonna enter the, creepy foggy forest. So, and most of the people listening to this, they'll be like, oh my God, poor her. Nah, it's fine. I'm happy. I
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
This is so, there is no advice from my side like, what should you focus on? Focus on yourself and what makes you happy. That's your measure.
Yeah.
See what you're looking for, what makes you excited, you
Yeah.
know. If a
Yeah.
fog in a forest makes you excited, go for the fog in the forest.
Mm.
That's fine.
Yeah. No, I love that answer. So it's self-awareness, figuring out what makes you happy and just go for that. Yeah.
Exactly.
I love
Exactly.
it. Thank you so much. So
Thank you too.
if somebody would like to work with you as a mentor or coach, where can they find you?
Well, I'm on most of the platforms, but my website, alexandradolea.com, there they could find, all the information and, what I'm offering and what I'm doing and how I'm working. Also on LinkedIn, they can find me, and in general, social media, I'm pretty easy to be tracked down if
Okay.
anybody wants to. And yeah, basically, it's an, professional, career mentoring and coaching, but also like a safe space and an easygoing. My method is drawn from, archaeology, like how, you discover a new place, but basically exactly like the things are there. I'm just, providing the right tools for you to discover what you have
Mm,
underneath layers of things that you buried down.
yeah.
So I'm trying to bring clarity and understanding for you to discover what you truly want and hopefully what it makes you happy because we discussed about happiness
Yeah.
and so on.
Yeah.
So that's the approach. It seems pretty simple, but as we know, if something seems simple, it has a lot of work behind. So yes, that's basically me.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you so much, Gabriela. Thank you too.
Thank you for listening. This was the Zestpal Show. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And remember, life is precious. Make the most of it. Until next time.